Need some help? You need some help?
Huh?
All right, we're going to start recording early because Dwayne's got a wind loss and it's going to take a little longer.
Well, not even a lot. I got a meeting with them for next week again.
Yeah,
A good appointment with them.
but it's important what you said that sometimes they don't follow the script.
No.
And I'm going to tell you that it's actually most of the time they don't follow the script.
Well, that's good news now.
Yeah, sorry.
Hey, these are 1.5 hour classes, so you can't do it all at once.
All right, okay. That's one of the reasons we have a system, and this is a system we're learning here, right? Sandra is a system. It's not a procedure.
Okay.
Whose phone is that?
Turn it off.
You got a new song or something. Okay, I'm just setting up the big screen so we can see everybody. I think we can just go right to that because that's the one we're going to. So you went in and they immediately started telling you everything that was wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't get a few words out of my mouth, and before I could get really into any questions, it was like, this is Wi-Fi shit.
Oh, so good, you were taking notes.
That's the exact words that Megan said. They fixed it. It's still Wi-Fi shit. And I talked to him 16 times. You know, I have 3 tickets in there, and it's been 3 months, and it's still the same Wi-Fi. That's what she said 3 different times. We've got tickets that have been on for 3. It takes 3 months to get a DID. Now, DID is a direct inward dialing phone number. So they're managing their phone service as well as their IT service. When someone calls me and says I need a DID, I call my vendor, put an order in, and within a few days I get a DID back.
It takes them how long right now?
Okay.
It took them 3 months to get 1 DID from this company.
Good. Try to keep the educating us about your business.
The DID
If
is
you can.
they told me that that she does more work for them because they won't come on site to do anything. So they're asking her to do everything, and she's the HR person, and everything that gets done, she has to do. They won't come on site. And then the other thing she said was that it takes them sometimes up to 30 to 45 days to complete assignments. And they're paying them.
Listen to what they're paying.
They're paying them $6,000 a month for everything.
That's $18,000 for a response, basically.
$6,000 a month.
So if you think about it, it's 3 months.
They give me the bills.
That's that's good.
That's
So
awesome.
oh, it's RPM.
I don't know who they are.
Oh, I know who they are.
Oh, you know they are?
Yeah. In fact, Denise knows who they
RBM?
are. RPM.
RPM?
There's a guy from RPM who comes to the Tuesday lunch.
Oh.
I don't know if you've come to the. Oh no.
Tuesday, I don't. Yeah.
So this is
Maybe I'll
RPM. They charge them this. So this is the pain they bled on me the other day. So I'm just I'm really at this point. It's like, okay, you guys have blurted out a lot of stuff here.
So what's the rule in that situation?
I asked more questions.
Well, no.
Tell me more about that.
First of all, it's this.
So I didn't know to do that.
When under attack, fall back.
Okay.
You gotta go like, whoa, okay. You're giving me information overload here.
Okay.
Were they asking you how to fix it?
No.
Okay, they were just telling you what was wrong? Okay, that's good.
They're not asking me anything how to fix it. I wasn't going to tell them how to fix it.
Now, recalling the pain funnel, you found out how much it was costing them. They're paying $6,000 a month and it's not getting fixed.
Yeah.
What's the next step?
If I can fix that, how much would it be worth to you?
Too soon. That's
Okay.
That's later. Now we're in fulfillment. We haven't gotten out of pain yet. What's the bottom of the pain funnel? The 4th level.
I don't know.
How does this affect you?
Oh, that I did.
Okay, so if you don't fix this, is somebody going to be mad at you? Is your business going to go under?
That was the question. The RPM fired them.
Well,
They
really?
got in an argument with RPM about the service, and RPM told them to go blow and said, we're going to only take care of you to the end of the month.
Now that's kind of a red flag, isn't it, to you?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's scary.
But these are red flags I've never come up against before.
But see, now that's a good place for you to be in because now you can be standoffish. You can be, okay, now you need to sell me. Well, if RPM fired you, are you going to fire me?
What? There's a big
Well, my
difference.
question that's coming to my head is, what is the past relationship of RPM just throw their hands up and say, I'm done with getting $6,000 a month?
Well, yeah,
I mean, they're
and
thinking-
from their point of view, and I can only do it from their point of view. From their point of view is they were getting testy with RPM because they were yelling at them because RPM wasn't doing what they needed to do, and RPM didn't like being treated that way. Now
Held
RPM, they want to be held accountable. So RPM finally said, you know what, we're done. Now my opinion is RPM, they're out of like Ohio or this. They're not even from the invoices have got another state on
They have an
invoices.
office here.
But they better. And I don't think they have people that are able to go on site because they don't have anybody close enough to them. They won't go on site, and that causes them a big problem.
They
So,
try to do everything over the phone.
and then so what happens is the HR person's got to do a majority of the work, and she's not
She can't
getting.
do it.
She's not getting her.
She's doing work.
She's not getting her job done. They had 2 people that were new hires, and they were supposed to have all this stuff done. And then she says every time there's something has to get done, like a new hire, there's a checklist to go through. They tell her it's done, and she goes to do it, and then half the stuff's not done on the checklist.
Okay,
So
so
there's a pain.
you're going through the pain, but did you find out what's gonna happen if it doesn't get fixed? Remember, the bottom of the painful is things like, okay,
Well,
so you've tried, what have you tried to fix this? Am I your first try or am I your last try? You wanna know that.
I asked them if there's anybody else they're talking to at this point. They said,
Good.
They said no. Now I don't know. I asked Josh. Josh is going to be going out there tomorrow to meet with them for something else because he's going to be putting radiology in the clinical trials area. So he's going to be talking with Matt, which is the CEO, and let me know how they thought the meeting went that I was out there. The person I talked to was a decision maker, Richard. He says he's making the ultimate decision. Matt doesn't really make those decisions, even though he's the CEO.
So you did get who's making the decision?
Richard.
Okay. And he's the only one?
He's the only one.
They
He's
reach
the only
out
one.
to you or you reach out to them?
It was introduced to them by my current customer
Oh, wonderful.
via email.
There's a difficult question to ask, and did you have an upfront contract with them? Did you even get a chance to do it?
No, I got bombarded. I tried to backpedal, and I didn't have a way of backpedaling into that.
Why not?
I didn't know how to. I was overwhelmed. Dude. I mean, they came in there, I mean, with guns
Hold on.
loaded, and
They
I
threw up on
think they were so frustrated with the situation they were in. I didn't get to speak. I didn't want to speak. I didn't get to even go through the process, and because of that,
See this?
You know,
Whoa, wait, back up.
well, this one you know.
No, you and I, back up. You're getting ahead now. I'm on page 2. You're already up to page 9.
Okay, so that's what I should.
Like, let's back up. First of all, how much time do we have? Because it sounds like we got a lot of problems
I
to
did
talk
ask
about
that
here.
question.
Good, okay. And what are you hoping to get out of this? You can ask them that, and you do want to know that, right? Yes, I'm glad you're telling me what's wrong. I want to hear what's wrong because obviously you want me to come in and fix what's wrong. Is that right? Okay, but let me say, what else are you hoping to get? I want to hear everything's wrong, but you know, I don't know RPM, but I've never heard anything bad about them. So I've heard they're a great company, even if you haven't heard. I mean, I did this the other day. I was talking to some guy who was talking to Paychecks. That's Claudio. He's on twice. Don't worry. You could turn your video on too, so we could see you. This guy was saying, like, well, I got an offer from Paychecks. I said, well, why are we talking? What do you mean? So Paychecks is a great company. Now, you all know how I feel about Paychecks. Right? But Paychecks is a great company. Why wouldn't you go with them? And he says, well, they're not that great. Well, really, why? He started telling me what he didn't like about Paychecks.
You gotta remember, this wasn't like they were already fired by this. This company told them they need to get somebody else to service their account.
Okay, you're right. Okay, we're a little bit off.
So this is where this is where uncharted territory. It's like, okay, I haven't been in that situation where it's like, so most times it's like, we don't like our current IT guy, we're thinking about changing, or we don't have a person, we want to add one, or we don't think we're getting the service we're paying for, so we want to kind of shop around. Those are typical.
Yeah.
Not, I've been fired and we need something right away.
So that was a flag for you right away. You're thinking, I might not want this one.
I was thinking about that.
Because you're already doing pretty good, right? You don't need a headache.
Well, depending on how well what's worth it or not, sure.
How
Every
much,
account's a headache.
how much is a headache worth?
Good money.
Could be good money, could help him get another part-time employee, therefore expand his chance of getting more clients.
Depends on if I feel like I can overcome their issues, if it's personality. I've had to overcome personality conflicts in a lot of customers because I deal with IT people, I deal with managers of IT, managers that deal with computers, and a lot of them are high strung because of that. And I know how to. I've learned how to really calm those people down and understanding how we work and to make sure I stay on the same page with them so nothing gets blown out of proportion. A lot of people can't do that because in my field, a lot of IT people, they feel high and mighty over people because IT is like, well, you don't know IT, so shut the hell up.
Okay.
You don't know IT at all. Don't talk. And those people, and customers don't like that. And I got customers that say, we don't like being treated that way. I don't want my employees talked down by an IT person because they're calling for help and you're going to talk down to them like you're better than them. And and so we've been able to come over barriers with different people and win and keep accounts alive. And even when they come in and say, hey, this lady that you're gonna deal with, she's gonna fire you next month. This happened to us without demotion, one of our bigger clients.
Wow.
The office manager goes, hey, I'm glad you're here. I'm gonna get you signed up. But in a month, she's gonna fire you because she's the owner's daughter, the doctor's daughter.
We're kind of
The
getting
mother.
deeper than we
You
need.
get my point, right? And I had to overcome stuff like that.
But now, did I go over this graph with you, the income versus maintenance graph?
I don't
Were you here
think
for that
so.
one?
I don't think so.
Okay. Clients are going to range from low to high maintenance. They're also going to range from low income to high income. Obviously, we'd like to have a lot of low income, high maintenance clients, right? We'd
No.
like
What?
to be in this
What?
quadrant.
No,
Low-
maintenance,
Yes,
high
you mean
income.
low maintenance, high
I was like, no,
I
I'm
said
not.
Yeah, no.
All right, you passed the test. You caught it.
Yeah.
That's 95% of my clients.
Sure. Low maintenance, high income, right?
Which way?
They're not low income,
Low-
high. Low
Really?
maintenance, high income.
I try to keep everybody this side of the line.
Yeah.
I really do, because if you get people that are high maintenance, even if they're high income, like for a long time, we had one client. And we made a lot of money, but they were always asking us to do stuff.
Mhm.
Do this, do this, do this, do that. It was integrity, remember, when we first got started. And when we lost them,
You can focus on other things.
no,
You lost money.
income went from year to year. I mean, it was a
Mhm.
big hit. When we lost them, it was a big hit. We were very one-legged. And the reason we were one-legged is because we spent so much time dealing with what they taking care of them. We didn't have time to develop all these over here. So I always try to work on people this side of the line. You know, one of the beauties of our particular business is it's residual.
Mhm.
You know, and
I
we did,
understand.
and we help them outsource problems they don't ever want to see again. So they don't really want to hear from us. You know, if they hear from us, if they call us, it's because something's wrong.
Mhm.
You know, we check in with them once a quarter, once every 6 months, something like that. But generally, we don't want to bother them because our business, the HR, is, you know, that's somebody else's problem. And that, we told them we're going to make it somebody else's problem. They don't want to hear about it. We may need more chairs when Angie and Chris get here. So if they're high maintenance, high income, there you got to make a decision. Do you have the staff?
Well, I haven't determined they're high maintenance yet.
I know that. I'm just saying, but you said you wouldn't mind having high maintenance if they were high income.
That's true. I mean, I have a couple of my clients that are higher maintenance, but
We actually do have the staffing to take care of it.
well, that's just it. I'm determining that now. I'm looking at everything they're doing and what they're, and I had to listen to them to find out what it is that he's doing for them. And I got that information, so I can make a decision. My biggest concern was I didn't know even how to address the question that to them.
How
They
many-
were fired.
Let me ask you a few questions, can I? How many people were in the room?
I mean, 3.
Yeah, you were there.
Mhm.
So you
So the
and
HR person, which is their
what was his or her name?
Megan,
Her, I guess. I
and
haven't
then
met many
Richard.
male Megans. So Megan, so you were on this side of the table, Megan, Richard on that side of the
They
table?
were in his office. I was in the chair and over there, and Megan was the chair over here. Richard was the
Okay, good. That's good. So
wasn't a problem.
who was overseeing the meeting?
Richard.
Okay, I have a problem with that right away.
Richard was the
I was
person.
hoping for you to say you were overseeing the meeting.
Oh, well, okay, yeah. Richard was the one that was he's the primary contact as far as who I met with.
Okay, he's the boss.
Because Megan was not open. Megan was not the boss. She was just,
And she's a key player. But she's the one that's getting shit on. Pardon my French. She's the
Mostly.
one that's having the problems, right? So she's in there with you trying to tell Richard, I need this. Theoretically, it could be this is where you want it to be. She's trying to tell Richard that I need this guy to help fix my problems. Was that fair? Does that be a fair assessment? Okay.
she actually used terms like, I have a princess request, as she's called.
A printer's request?
Princess request.
Princess request. You said that? I like that.
She said, I have a princess. In other words, if, when we go, she said, when we go with you, I have a princess request. That's just her words.
Does she look like Grace?
Well, she said she wanted certain things done a certain way because the way she's been treated by the other company. So she doesn't want to have that same. So she has a princess request.
How long were you in there?
45 minutes.
How difficult is princess request? Is just normal stuff?
Almost stuff. Something to do with the way the help desk tickets are and put it out.
Just relationship.
Just relationship stuff. See, that was their biggest thing. There was this relationship problem with.
There's no face-to-face.
There was a relationship problem with the people not doing what they said they were going to do, A, and then not treating them with respect, B. Now, some of that could have been because they were getting, hey, you guys aren't doing it fast enough, and they're saying, well, screw you, we are. Well, it's been 15 days, it ain't done yet.
Is that unusual?
Yes, in my industry, it's like for 15, 30 days for things to go by.
Really? I'm dealing with my web hoster.
That's what hosting's not the same as what I did.
They're always telling me it's my fault. I'm
So
going
they're-
to speed up the damn server.
To understand what I do,
There.
to understand what I do, you have to understand that people are actually sitting at their desk working, and then something doesn't work. They're told by their boss to send a ticket to help desk.
Okay.
We as the help desk have to communicate back with them and saying, what's the problem? How can we fix it? So you can get back to work because the boss is paying the customer to sit there to be non-productive while their job is not being done.
Mm-hmm.
So we're paid to make sure that their job gets done by making sure that their applications work on the PCs. We are not perfect, but we have got an average of a 15-minute first response time to a ticket. To a ticket, first response, the first touch of the ticket is 15 minutes. We could go on from there where they haven't responded back in an hour or 2 hours.
Is that automated though?
No, we respond.
Okay.
We
So that's
respond.
actual, because I get an immediate email
First
back.
response.
But
No,
it's-
that's an auto generation by the ticket system.
Yeah, it's an auto respond.
Our techs pick it up within 15 minutes on average. Sometimes it goes over.
Okay.
We're busy, but average 15.
So how did the meeting end?
Meeting ended was that I needed to take a look at all the stuff they gave me, and I needed to go back and talk with my team and whatever. Start thinking about the stuff, and that I needed to, if it was okay, I need to schedule an appointment with them to come back and to get with them on what we needed to do to fix the problems and make a decision on how we're going to go forward.
And you didn't do that right then?
What-
No, I didn't have enough information right then.
No, but you could have scheduled the meeting.
I scheduled the meeting
Okay, when's the meeting?
next Wednesday, next Tuesday at 7 times 2 o'clock.
All right, next Tuesday, 2 o'clock. So good. So the next step was decided.
All that. So I followed as best I could, but I was
Yeah.
going for a lot of loops through this process.
Well, see, that's, okay. The sub is that way, okay? It is, you sometimes have to back up a few, departments.
But this department's already flooded. So then you're holding your breath and sitting in water, and you're not really going to hold your breath long, right?
But it wasn't sunk.
But
They were sinking.
so I did the best I could, I think, in the situation. I wanted to go through and do step by step, but before I can get a few words out, it was like, a boom, a boom, a boom. Like, dude, come on, man.
So has anyone ever been in that situation where you sit with somebody and they just immediately start bleeding all over you?
Well, yeah.
All the time with my prior career, they had to. Not literally bleeding, but they spilled their, yeah.
Just bleeding
But,
pain all over.
yeah, just telling me everything that's going on in the unit, and I had for me to come in and try to fix it. So.
Did you notice something as you were going along, that the more she started talking, that the first thing she said, was it really the big one, or was it something else that came up later that was the big one?
Me and I listened. I didn't talk much. I did this every third or I asked questions every time they said something. I asked them to get more detail about it. I was trying not to talk too much. They asked questions of me and how I helped that's system work. I just answered them.
Did you?
I just, yeah, I told them how we worked on this. I didn't say play games. I said, on average, I said, we hit, an average, I said, we hit 15 minutes. I said, there's times that we can get an hour. I said, but average, too.
No, but you should always end it with a question. Like, we got an average for 15 minutes. Is that important?
Okay, so I should ask that.
Yeah.
I didn't do that.
Because
You know,
here's
that
what
happens
happens.
increase when you take on more clients.
Yeah.
What happens when you answer a question?
Should I always ask a question at the end of it, right?
Look, if you don't ask it, if you just answer a question, what do they do next?
Ask another one.
That's right.
They take charge.
And then now who's in control of the meeting?
Ah, gotcha.
Okay, the person asking the questions is the one who's directing the meeting. And I hate to use the word control, 'cause it's not about control. It's just that you want to keep it going in the direction it needs to go. And who's more qualified to decide what direction it needs to go?
Yeah.
You, because you're the expert. That's the reason you're in there.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, they brought you in as the expert. Or are they more qualified to decide? You know, that's why you ask questions, is to direct the direction. You're a director. You're a stage director. You're a traffic cop, whatever you want to say.
Okay.
You know,
Makes sense.
Sandler would joke about, he'd say, he said to somebody once, he goes, I got good news and bad news. What do you want to hear first? They say, give me the good news. Well, you know what? I'm going to start with the bad news. He'd always go the other way.
Whatever they said, he would go the opposite.
Yeah, and I'm not quite sure why. There was some psychological reason he did that, but he said mostly it was to establish that he was going to be the director, but that might have been an ego thing on him too.
I kind of think asking that question, is that important to you, would have been redundant, would have been weird, because the way they already said it.
How important is it to you?
Okay.
They were, I think.
On a scale from 1 to 10, where's this?
Which,
That's probably what I should have done.
You can always do the thermometer, right? Okay, we average 15-minute response time. On a scale from 1 to 10, where does that fit? And they may say, oh, it's, 3 or 4. I mean, as long as it gets done, I mean, we're waiting 30 days now. I mean, if you can get it done in a day, if you come back to us a day, we're happy. Or they might say, like, no, we want someone who gets back to us right in 15 minutes. See, you don't know that, do you?
That's not that important to you.
There you go. See, who knows?
So what I do in that aspect,
paying attention.
kind of my thermometer way, when I get to, I have them list all their goals. What your goals are in life, in retirement, whatever it is. And I typically would say, this is your number 1. How would you rate the other ones? Which one's more important? And then put them down so I know where I got to focus and put all my energy at as I go down the list. That's kind of how I do it in my world. I don't know if that would help in your world.
Well, the 1 to
It seems like it
you
might.
could do that 1 to 10 also. Give me
Well, I like the one-
10
I like-
super important, 1 is not
And
important.
then write it down.
I like the 1 to 10.
Write it down.
Yeah.
No, it's a great idea.
People are used to that too. They're not term.
Oh, no, I didn't think of that, and I should have, but that's but no practice.
Everybody,
All the doctors use it, right?
Eric Schulman Tuesday said, he's been doing this 30 years. Said he made a mistake last week. Didn't follow the system.
Wow.
So
Well, and it helps when the more you do the system, and my problem is I don't get meetings that often with people about this.
well, if Yoda can't follow the system all the time, then don't worry if we can't either.
The system's all you must.
Okay, who else had one? I know you had one you wanted to bring up.
Yes, you were bugging me so much about asking someone what they do. Family. What was it? Home?
Form,
Family, occupation, recreation, and
money or
Yeah.
mission.
So, yeah.
That's what I do.
So the people, actually, our daughter's friends' family, I asked them what they do, and it turns out that they've developed software and cloud-based storage for Colombia, Venezuela. They have actually warehouses where they store, the records. These countries require 10 years of storage in paper form. So, so that's what they do. Her husband's traveling now to Colombia and Venezuela, and that's what I found out.
So it was a win for you that you
Actually
remembered to
asked.
do it.
Yay.
Well, you pressured me so much, I was like, okay, find out what they do.
No, I want you to understand what she calls pressured me so much. I was sitting in the car. Did you ask them what they do? No.
Too much
Okay.
pressure.
Next time, remember form. Remember form?
Yeah.
That was my pressure. Okay.
Bugging her.
I'm bugging.
No, I'm good.
I gave him water. Just in case.
I didn't know there was
Yeah,
one.
you're
I got a lot of water in the back.
Do you want more?
No,
Well, I'll just do that. Usually I have ready muffins, but
Anybody else have a literal loss?
big breakfast.
So I kind of do.
Okay.
I went to, well, I did. I went to Toastmasters, which I've been attending every week for months now, and it was to learn so that I became a better presenter.
Okay.
And so I actually did a presentation. Before I was just doing speeches about myself because that's an icebreaker, that's stuff like that. And then I did a business presentation, and it was pretty good. I had to look at my notes a few times, but it didn't matter. My information was spot on, and I had 4 people walk up to me and say, "I want more information." Send me information now, and then I had 1 person buy. So
Oh, wonderful.
yeah. So I was excited about
So,
that.
so
Another
how
person
much,
is
how much money does that mean to you?
not much.
No, seriously, round numbers.
Well, he only bought one little bottle, and that's
Oh,
his
okay.
for It's
So,
nothing.
but it's not, but it's who he knows. It's a 250 roll.
Yeah.
So it wasn't $100 yet.
Did he buy it?
No, you haven't made $100.
No, not on that. No.
All right.
No, but there are more people wanting information,
Okay.
and now they know what I do,
By the way,
and they were all like, "What is that? What is that?"
it's a little rule we have in here. If somebody makes a deal that earns them $100 that they wouldn't have got before, or more. I'm gonna put $1 up on the wall here.
Oh,
All
okay.
right.
Oh, there goes the party.
Oh,
hi. Sorry.
Well, I'm glad to see you. You weren't there yesterday.
Yesterday. Oh, a meeting yesterday.
Yeah, ABC.
Yeah.
I actually went to ABC yesterday and wasn't there. One of my colleagues does Toastmasters too. Lily, I think.
I mean, I drive all the way out to Lake Marion. I live over here, but I'll drive out to Lake Marion by 7:30 in the morning because the people there are so positive.
Sure.
Yeah, so I want to be in that kind of environment.
I didn't know there's more than one.
Yes, there's one in Oviedo that's probably a lot closer to me, but
He's pretty
I really
close to
enjoy
that
the
road
people
out
out
there,
there.
so. I should have some.
Have you been to one that's not positive? Is that why you say that?
No,
Or you did?
I'm terrified of going to one that's not positive, and I know that they're out there because I hear it from other people.
What, leads groups?
Yeah, no,
No, Toastmasters.
Toastmasters.
you really need some positive people when you're putting yourself out there, right? Yeah.
I want people to have cameras and just start beating them.
Well, they kind of, they're really upfront with that, but they don't make you feel bad about it. They're like, okay, well, you could insert this here, or you could have, or next time try not wailing your hands around or something like that. And you're like, oh, that's embarrassing.
Well, I have an announcement and a story, and the story they're both wins. The announcement is that I met with the owner of the Sandler franchise, the new owner, Mike Aldridge. He'll be replacing Eric Schulman in a few years as Eric retires. And I made an agreement. Kathleen and I met with him, and we made an agreement. This is a Sandler class now.
Oh, nice.
Yay, official.
So I was going to mention this class in my D&I group,
And you
but I didn't because I wasn't sure what I was doing.
You can. We are good to go. He's sending me the agreement. I'm an associate of his. This is his class that I'm teaching for him.
Good.
Okay.
Wow.
And he wants a presence on the east side. He's taking a little bigger cut, but he's going to be giving me materials, stuff to hand
But it's a
out.
bless, but so you're doing it with a blessing instead of against them.
Yeah, and
It's
well,
better.
Speaking of
It-
material.
The problem with Eric is that he would change his mind.
Hmm.
He'd say, yeah, do it. No, don't do it. Yes, do it. No, don't do it. And Mike, when we talked to Mike, he said, yeah, Eric has that.
Your name is above me.
Yeah. Mike Aldrich. He used to do the construction trailers. I don't know if you've ever done, the trailers that are on the construction sites. He's the guy that rents them out to them. But anyway, he said, we're good to go. He'll be coming to some classes, hopefully. But you can tell anybody you want about this now. They can
That's
come in.
cool.
I'll make sure I announce it in my D&I.
They get one class free. The price is $750 a month. Veterans get a huge discount. Okay, as long as they can prove they're veterans. Yeah, I never did see your DD 242.
You want to see my E-card? Show them that I have one, you don't?
Doesn't his hammer explain it all?
I got my record.
Did you?
Yep.
I know you said you were sent a request to me.
Yep.
Now we can do with your records.
Well, I'm actually re-upping into CAP.
Oh, you're good.
Yeah.
Well, good.
Although, even though it's technically Air Force, it's not service. So I said, no, do I get a DD-214? They said, no, we haven't gone that far. You don't get a DD. But I will get my rank reinstated.
Why wouldn't you get a DD-214?
Because it's a civil auxiliary. Civil Air Patrol is a civil auxiliary of the Air Force.
It's like the Coast Guard auxiliary. You can work alongside and for and augment, but you're not actually officially a service member. You're a volunteer.
That's right.
I thought that you were military before, though.
I took a job, this is the way I've been told, when I was at Maxwell working for the CAP office for an Air Force colonel. He commissioned me, gave me a field commission where I was a captain in the Air Force. And I was there for about 5 months. I have those records too. But there's no record of my commission. It just shows me as an employee. So I was a civil contractor. So he kind of slipped me under the door. And that's why when the new guy came in, he kicked me right out. He said, I don't need you. Get out of here.
Yeah, so June 20th, you won't be at the Orlando Brewing then, huh?
Why wouldn't I be there?
That's the veterans.
Oh.
You know, kind of proper John.
Yeah, he took
Show me
that.
some proof. I'm going to see DD-214.
Swung the hammer.
I'm still
Bye, Rick.
helping veterans.
Oh, no, you're good.
I worked along. I got shot at once.
Well, ex-wife from count.
Oh, I forgot that one. That's twice. Okay.
So I have a question.
Well, I haven't finished yet. Hold on. Let me talk about that. What's going on? So we're officially family, and I want to tell you the story. And it's important to you. This is why, before I forget, while we were in class Tuesday, there's this company called Sherlock was there. I can't remember. I don't know if that's the name of their company, but that's their product. They have this video tool where the camera is on you, and I did a role play up the front of the class with this lady who's Juliana. I kept calling her Brianna. But Juliana and I did a role play, and they had video cameras on both of us, and it shows, when you go back and look at it, it shows how the audience is reacting to you.
Cool, really?
Yeah, and it's automated. It's using facial recognition. It can tell whether people are fearful or excited or angry. There's all these little faces that go across there. And it also shows a percentage engagement. Well, I did this, and I think you would.
You mean like emoji faces?
Yeah, they're like little emoji faces, but they got a thing going around the outside.
Okay,
Actually, well, I have a text picture of one of the ones with my face on it, because Kevin was, when they did it at 1 Million Cups yesterday, I wasn't there. I didn't go to 1 Million Cups, but Kevin Elliott was there, and he texted me a picture of it. He said, hey, you're up on the screen right now, and that screen makes you look 20 pounds heavier. Thanks, Kevin. I really needed to hear that.
yeah,
But-
I'm not getting on it.
But what I was impressed with is, first of all, that it actually measures, like, it showed people were calm, showed me as calm.
Ah.
I was coming across as calm. It was probably one of the more challenging role plays I've ever done, because I volunteered to be the iTex barter network salesman. And she's somebody who is interested in iTex. What I didn't know is this woman had started 2 barter networks in the
Oh,
past.
it's Juliana one.
Oh, you know her?
Yeah,
Okay, yes. So you know Juliana, yeah.
yeah.
So she started 2 charter networks in
Right.
the past. And I know, this much about barter. I mean, we're iTex members.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
by the
she'll
way,
shoot you up and spit you out.
you can pay your Sandler dues with iTex, your Sandler fees with iTex barter bucks. By the way,
$100?
we take barter dollars. So that's a side. Okay. So I started telling her, she says, how much you know about barter? I go, next to nothing. This is my first day. You're my first client. She goes, oh, that's, I've actually started 2 barter companies. I'm like, oh, well, can I count on you to help me? And I went like, so not okay. I was like, so not okay. I let her do all the talking. And however, at the end, she goes, sign me up.
Wow. Because you were so not okay.
Well, what I did, and this was how and she didn't think I was doing this. She didn't catch it, but Eric and Mike caught it. As I started qualifying her at the end, I'm saying, well, we're going to be introducing you to 17,000 other companies. Can you handle that much business right now? She goes, no. I said, well, what are you going to do? She said, I'll hire people. Really? Right now, it's kind of a tough market to hire people. You sure you can do it? She said, I can do it. Don't worry. Sign me up.
Ah. That was great.
So it was that was my little win for but what made me think of
You
it.
weren't at 1 million cups, but you were with Juliana?
No, she came to Sandler, the Sandler class. But they they played the video at 1 million cups yesterday, I guess, of me and her.
Oh, okay, now I understand.
But they also look at your micro expressions, what they were talking about. The technology is focusing in your face, and they can see what you're. I don't want to if you have any micro expressions.
It's
You're not
advanced
aware of.
advanced facial recognition system.
Wow. So John, I have a question. So
Now
when
you
Dwayne was talking about his whatever win or loss, he at the end, is that something? I remember a question you used to ask: if I can fix this problem, and I don't know the end of that question,
then what?
then what?
Okay, now where are we there? At what point is that in the sub when you're asking that?
You're at the put the sub thing back up.
We've got
Fulfillment.
yeah, because if you're at that point, you're up here, right? You've already got your pain, your budget, and your decision, right? Which Sandler calls the ultimate contract. Sorry, Claudio, I'm not showing you this here, so I can get this over here. But that's the ultimate contract right there, pain, budget, decision. So the fulfillment step is basically summing up the pain, confirming the budget, confirming you had the decision makers in front of you. Okay. Now, it was probably too early for Dwayne to go to a fulfillment step there. He's still researching. He hasn't decided whether he wants these guys yet. Okay. He's one of the decision makers, isn't
Should
he?
he have been qualifying on that?
Yes, you should be qualifying from the moment you sit down with someone. Remember, the whole idea of the system is to level the playing field. They're deciding what they want to buy from you, but you're also deciding, do I want to sell to them? Do we want everyone as a client?
No.
I mean, are there people out there you would rather not have as a client?
Right.
Yeah. So that's the purpose of the system, is to level that so we know we can decide, you know what, I don't want this one. And have you ever fired a client?
Yeah.
Have you ever walked out of a prospect and said, you know what, I didn't want that one anyway?
Yes.
Or I've gotten to a place where somebody wanted me to do something and said, I can't help them. And I have to tell them, and it hurts. I have to say, because they really need it. And you say, I'm really sorry, but I can't. Especially here, that must be tough in a mortgage situation. Like, I'm sorry, we can't help you.
I have a hammer that I can refer my clients to, and he is a true hammer. He's former military from New York, either Bronx or Brooklyn, I don't know. A really tall, big guy, and has
Steve?
has the thickest
Steve's twin brother?
New York accent you've ever heard in your life. But he's a lot more aggressive than Steve. He's 10 times more aggressive than Steve. But
Wow.
he'll do hard money loans. So I don't ever tell anybody no. I mean, it is an ugly loan. Ugly, ugly, ugly loan. So I will tell everybody, of course, I will try to get you the best I can from the bank, but if I can't, I don't tell you no. I have an alternative for you. You might not like the alternative, but I don't tell anybody no.
But he'll tell you no.
Frankie will not tell anybody no.
Oh, he just makes it so expensive they can't do it.
He makes it really expensive.
They want
I've never
to
had any, when I've gone to Frankie, nobody's ever turned him down. Not if they really want the house. I mean, I don't go to him unless they really want the house.
Okay.
But,
the house over the years?
excuse me?
Are they able to keep the house over the years?
He's a stepping stone loan. He's, you know,
So they can refi and have a better loan?
25% down, 10% interest rate, interest only, it's only a 2-year note. Give them time to fix their credit, or whatever the problem is, or be on a job 2 years, or whatever they need to do. Then I can get them into the 30-year fixed rate residential loan. It's somebody that finds a deal of a lifetime and they can't get the house because of some issue.
That sounds like something you would refer to Vanessa Brundage. She helps people get that.
Okay, let's get on. How are we doing? What time is it? Anybody know?
It is 10:05.
Oh, well, it's time to get into the class, probably.
Yeah.
We have essentially finished the foundations class. which is, you've learned the sub. And what we're going to be doing from here on is getting deeper into certain parts of each compartment and certain parts of the overview of all SAMR. There's a lot more to learn. It's just, but the foundation, you've got the foundations now, okay? You should be.
I have it, but
Now-
you've said it, but I don't have it.
Well, no.
On it.
You-
Yeah.
It's, now there's a great little diagram I saw, and
I
I've been,
need you to chisel it into my brain.
put this good morning under, okay? Well, right now, you came in here, when you first walked in, you were unconsciously incompetent. You didn't know what you didn't know.
You mean the first time you walked in?
The first time you walked in, right? Now you're here. You are consciously incompetent. You know it, but you don't know it, right? But you know what you don't know,
I've heard it,
right?
but I can't regurgitate it.
And some of you are starting to get over to be consciously competent, where if you think about it, you can do it right. You know,
I think
you're starting to get there, and that's really about where you should be, is somewhere along in here right now. Okay? You know, but what we want to get up to is where me and Eric and Mike are and Kevin, where we are unconsciously competent, where we're just doing it automatically. Because we've been doing it so long, we don't know how to do it anywhere else. We can't not do the Sandler system. I think I had somebody say to me once, if I offered you 180, you know, it was a big amount, $180,000 a year to come work for me, but you can't do Sandler at all, would you take the job? I said, you'd fire me in the first day, because I can't not do Sandler.
Right.
It's so much a part of my thinking right now. There's no way for me to stop doing it. So you want to keep moving along that curve. We covered the foundations. That gets you from here to here. You now know that you don't know. But at least you know what you got to know. Now you're going to be working along, and we're going to do this through this, what's called Sales Mastery class, which we're starting every week. And it's not going to look much different. It's just going to be more detailed. We're moving you from here to being consciously competent. How do you get from here to here?
Practice.
Repetition.
Exactly.
Repetition.
Practice, repetition, going out, falling on your face, making mistakes, doing what Dwayne did yesterday, going in there and coming into a situation he hadn't been in before, but you're forgetting one other thing. How else are we going to get
take
here?
it mine.
Being here. Listening to other people's wins and losses. Wins and losses, you're right now thinking like, let's just get, a lot of you are thinking, let's get past wins and losses and get into the class. Some people do. But really, wins and losses is probably the most important part of the whole class. Because that's when we actually sit there and put into action, and we see other people putting into action what we're doing. There's 4 levels of learning. I learned this from being a flight instructor. You learn by rote, which means you can read it back. If I say, you know, I don't really have a good example, but if I tell you something and you can, what, did I get some kind of message?
No, it's not.
Oh, I should go to,
Sorry to have you hear that.
let me go to run silent, run deep mode on my phone. It's Dave just wanting to go ride the bicycle.
Okay, good.
So the way you're going to get from consciously competent to unconsciously competent is by doing what Dwayne did, by doing what also he did the day before. What did you do the day before you went there?
I went to the gym. I played tennis. I ate at Jimmy John's. No. I called John and said, "Hey John, I want some pre-coaching before my meeting, just to get over, to make sure I'm." And we did. We just kind of talked about 15 minutes just about my meeting coming up, and make sure that I was going to follow the rules, and just for him to just to re-certify my brain what steps I needed to take. Of course, it didn't go 100% like I wanted, but I've done better than I've done in the past, I think, because I had that knowledge.
Did it help?
It helped.
Okay.
So I was able to keep my composure a little more. Usually I would get at that point commission breath. As soon as they started bleeding, I would have gotten overexcited like a dog. but I didn't. I stayed calm and cool, and I think it helped. 'Cause I kept trying to focus on asking the questions more, and less about me and what we could do and how we could fix it.
So bonding and rapport wise, were you in rapport with them?
I believe I was.
Okay.
Because somebody referred already.
From the meeting. I don't care what, I mean, that helps.
Did they like your,
Yeah, we were in great rapport. We had some things in common, which was great because we've both been in IT for over 30 years.
So
So discovered we're both the same age. We all both go back to Windows 386.
the thing about rapport is confidence.
Okay.
There's lots of different levels of that confidence. The first confidence is you have confidence in yourself.
Always do.
I notice you have that problem. You often feel insecure.
Oh, I wish I didn't.
I've noticed that a lot, actually. That's why I've been like,
But the second confidence is they have confidence in you.
Oh, yeah.
And what gives them confidence in you? Is it product knowledge?
And well, the first thing was the first thing he said to me was, "You are extremely highly recommended from Josh."
And what did you say?
I said, I just like I said, well, I've known Josh a long time, and we're great. We work great together. And I said, then that's just, and I did thank them, and that's kind of where I left it.
You know what I would have said? Oh, I give Josh $20 to say that.
yeah, so yeah.
I like to understand.
Yeah.
But that's my personality. You can say like, oh, I'll have to thank Josh for that. You know,
Oh, yeah.
I have a lot of respect for Josh too. That's the
That's kind of where I was
strength.
going with that. Me and Josh I wanted to know that there was a great relationship between me and Josh, and we've worked together for a while. So
yeah, I'll try to be humble all the time. Like, that's mighty nice of Josh to say that.
Yeah. I always say, well,
that's
Josh
that's
is
probably one of my
just too
stumbling
nice.
blocks is the humble part.
I have a lot of humility, actually.
He just doesn't bring it with him.
I don't. It's in a suitcase. I have to actually open it up. It's sometimes I forget a combination.
Yeah.
But there's so much humidity outside, anyways. I
I'm
can't
sorry.
take it with me. There's so much humidity outside. I can't take it in with me.
Humility's good. Humility's not good. Whatever. I mean, I'm obviously a very humble person.
Well,
That's why I'm teaching.
when he said that, I felt the rapport was really good, and we just talked because she was in the room right away. She came in about 5 minutes afterwards.
Oh.
So we had about a minute or two I just asked him kind of where he came from, what kind of stuff he'd been doing in the past, and how long he'd been doing that at that clinic and things like that. So I just kind of wanted to get more information just learn a little bit about him.
What were their personalities?
Well, I don't know how to read personalities yet, so I don't know.
No, I mean, what did you read?
Did I
She's
read?
candidate, probably.
Who was the talker? Who was the outgoing?
She was a talker.
Okay, so she was outgoing.
She was a talker. I think it was because she was the one that was more frustrated than he was. It didn't affect him so much in the day-to-day things because he didn't have to be affected by it.
Yeah.
She was affected by it, so she was the more of the talker.
Affected the wallet.
He wasn't affected yet.
No,
She
no,
was trying to prevent it.
But she was, I'm just trying to get into the personality. She was outgoing.
But yeah, she was
Was she task oriented or people oriented?
tasker.
Okay.
My opinion was.
Okay. And what was he? Was he kind of listening and taking lead from her? Or
Yeah.
was he interrupting her and telling
He
her
didn't
no?
interrupt her too much. He let her do most of the speaking because she's the one who's been dealing with most of it. He doesn't deal with the stuff that she deals with day to day because he's dealing with the other stuff. He's more of a executive VP or more of a director, so he doesn't have to deal with the stuff.
So he was more introverted,
more introverted than
but
she was.
still task oriented. Okay.
He's like more people.
All right. So what you were dealing with was she's a D, he's a C,
I would say.
which is what I would have said for those particular jobs. That tends to be the guy who's an executive vice president, the one who's managing everything, tends to be a computational type of guy.
Mm-hmm.
Wants to know the facts. He's dealing with all the details.
Well, he's the one making the numbers.
The numbers guy, yeah. She's also numbers, but she wants the job done. She's driven, right? She's a driving person, so that's a D. So this little history of DISC, I put this up. The main thing I wanted you to see was down at the bottom there is what Hippocrates, and sometimes it's credited to Socrates, sometimes it's credited to Plato, but it was Hippocrates who said that there's 4 fluids in your body. And I'm not sure what they are. I know sanguine is blood, phlegmatic is kind of obvious. I'm not quite sure what choleric and melancholy are. But those 4, have you heard those 4 things before? Okay.
I have, but not in this.
Well, this is before disc. This predates disc. Disc has evolved out of something else. Okay. Amway was using the choleric, sanguine, phlegmatic, melancholy, because that's Florence Littauer and Tim LaHaye rewrote the book Personality Plus. Okay. But they're very similar to disc. They're not exactly the same. They're just similar. There was some people who said it was, fire, earth, air, and water. The four elements. They were benders. If you watch Avatar: The Last Airbender, so there was fire benders, air benders, water benders, and earth benders. If you know what that is, if you don't, you look it up. But he went to, saying that we're governed by which of those fluids in our body is dominant. A choleric person is a D, a sanguine is an I, a phlegmatic is a S, and a melancholy is a C, basically. But I'll get into where that comes from. It really didn't start until 1921 that this guy, Carl Jung, started changing it. And then there was another guy, William Moulton Marston, claims the birth of disc. Although from what I hear, he was calling it something else, and it only changed the name once that Amway and Mary Kay had their big fight, their discussion, and they said, Mary Kay, you take disc and we'll take the four spiritual temperaments. But so that's what the letters stand for: dominance, influence, steadiness, and compliance. Dwayne, you're needed again. Okay. Well, you got it here too. You just wanted to see those things?
Yeah.
All right. And by compliance, it doesn't mean they're compliant. They mean they want everybody else to comply. I use the C, I say computational CPA. The S to me is somebody who's safe. Kathleen is your classic S. She gets along with everybody, doesn't get involved in any controversy. If it's going to be controversial, she doesn't even say it. She edits her thinking. Nothing comes out of her mouth until she's thought about it for a while first. She's trying to get me to do that. Grace is picking that up from her. But we take a test, and really, I go DICS. Kathleen goes SCID. We're exact opposites, okay? But I am a DIC. So it's true. Okay. So an extroverted person, obviously I'm not an introvert. I'm pretty sure you all can figure that out. But so he described that girl as very extroverted, talking, but also very focused on the task at hand, which is a classic D. Somebody who's going to be an IT person, who's especially doing at a help desk, they tend to be Ds, but they also tend to be Cs. Okay, very rarely do you see IS people over on help desk. They're just not as task-oriented. They just want to talk. They want to get along. An I person will talk and talk and talk and talk. He's not in the room right now, but we have an I in our presence.
So I meaning influence, but what else?
Just I means all about me. I. Actors and actresses tend to be I's. Theater people are I's. SAC theater, they're all I's. That's why Dwayne fits in so well with him. He gets his I-ness just comes screaming out when he goes to SAC theater. Okay. I was sitting in an office about a year ago. I was telling Kathleen about this story this morning. Some of you have heard this. It's an old story. I was in this doctor's office, and Michelle, you remember Michelle?
Yes.
She brought me in, told the guy who's not a doctor, he's the office manager. She told him that she was bringing her boss in to talk to him. So right away, this guy's thinking, oh, she's bringing in the closer, right? Well, I walk in, and this guy is about 5'4", okay, dressed impeccably, trimmed beard, very fancy gold-rimmed glasses, and tie, jacket. And I was something like this, and I'm like, hi, right away, I'm intimidating to him, aren't I? because I'm 6'1", 250 pounds. And we go into his office, and on his desk, there's one big screen here, there's one big screen here, and he's behind these screens, and there's one chair there. I tell Michelle, you take the chair. I'm leaning against the wall there. He did not offer me a chair. So I'm just leaning against the wall. And I'm having to look over the screens to see his face. You know, Michelle can't see his face at all. She can see she's kind of leaning around, like looking between the screens to see this guy's face. Can't see him. Eventually, though, my legs start to hurt. I said, you know what? I'm just going to try this. I sank down and sat on the ground.
Oh, there.
Sat on the floor. I was just sitting there with my legs crossed the floor. And now I can see his face because I can see him come up underneath the monitors. What type of guy do you think this was? Where does he fit in?
Napoleon?
No, but aside from that, but that might be what influences. But where does he fit on that graph?
C? F?
Full C. Full on C. Introverted, task-oriented, doesn't like people, just wants to get the job done. I mean, he was so hard C, he was in that lower corner now. And here I am, and you know, with D, and I had to suppress my D and suppress my I. I had to sit there and be patient. I had to quote him facts, because C's want facts. But I finally told, you know, he was telling me like, well, I just want your best price. Just tell me what you can do. I said, well, you need to tell me more about what I'm doing. You know, can I have your census? You know, no, you don't. I can get health quotes without a census. I went, you can? Really? Who's giving you a health quote without a census? He said, well, my other agent said he could give me a health quote. I said, he can give you a range, right? I mean, he didn't give you actual quotes, did he? I mean, I'd be surprised. I want to meet this guy because I'd love to be able to give quotes without getting a census, because getting a census is a pain in the butt. Please introduce me to him. And he said, well, I said, just tell me this. How much is the payroll? He goes, I don't want to give that out. I said, well, how am I going to get you information without, you know, a quote without that? He goes, hey, look, when I go to Home Depot, when I order shingles from the roof, they don't ask me how many shingles I'm buying. I mean, I can look on the shingle and see the price.
No.
I went, okay, that's an interesting analogy, but let me go back to the other one. You work in a doctor's office, right, Bob? So if somebody comes in and says, doctor, how much is it going to cost to fix me? To heal me? What does the doctor do? Does he just say $50? Or in your case, probably $5,000? He says, no, he says he's got to do a diagnosis, right?
He doesn't know what he's fixing. He doesn't know what he's fixing yet.
Yeah, I mean,
know what's broke.
how am I supposed to fix what's broken if I don't know what's broken?
Right.
I've got to have certain parameters. I mean, you know, Bob, can you work without numbers? He goes, no, I can't work without numbers. I said, neither can I. Can we work together? And finally, he gave me the numbers and what he wanted to do, and it was ridiculous. He actually couldn't meet what he wanted to do. But he had some real pain. It's just I couldn't fix it. But I knew right away what I was dealing with as soon as I saw those two big computer screens he's hiding behind. He was all dressed up, fancy, like she says, sort of Napoleonish. But I knew he was a C right away.
I see why this is important. I've always known that it was important to be able to diagnose somebody's personality, but
Now, people change
I'm
too.
learning more about that all the time because I end up giving the wrong information because I misdiagnosed their personality. Or they ask something, but they don't really mean that. I know.
This
but
is just a
they don't
guideline.
really mean.
It's very hard to pigeonhole
They
people.
don't ask the right
Yeah.
thing.
You can't say, like, he's probably a C, he was a C then. Maybe when he goes home, he's more an I. You know, maybe when he's around his family, he turns into a big
Right.
happy, he turns into a Dwayne. He's all happy around his family. You know? You're an I, but yeah. Because people do change. And again, it's very difficult to try to pigeonhole somebody on in a graph because there's more than two axes, really. We know that, right? So, but it is useful in trying to determine. And I'll email all this to you, or you can just look on the DISC website. This is all there. But
Oh, that's good.
Make us do homework on things.
Don, I know that you've talked about we are usually, like you said, that you're usually a D and I and a C. Well, I didn't want to say, I know.
Oh, right
I am
there.
a-
I like that.
I am a DIC.
He said it.
I am a
I didn't
DIC.
mean it like that, but he actually is all three of those things. So like, I know that most people have multiple things in there. So how do you, okay, for example, so what would you diagnose me as?
Oh, I know where you are.
Okay, where is she?
Let's say it's yellow.
Yellow?
Yeah, I'd say you're
Outgoing.
Your sweater is the same color as
However,
You are
but
straight up there.
because of the nature of your job, there's a lot of C in there also.
Yeah.
I would say you're IC.
You were the first person to ever diagnose me that. I've
Really?
usually been called a D, yeah.
Dominant.
Yeah, there's some D in there.
Yeah.
You take charge,
So you're a John.
but you're also very,
You're a DIC.
very, what's the word? Say accommodating. You know, you will.
Ah.
You will help, you know, you care. See, I'm mostly DC, don't care. You know, I'll just run over people sometimes, not even realize I'm doing it. Kathleen will tell me something, you know, you were mean to that person. I said, what?
She says it to me too.
All the
I was mean to
time.
someone?
Well, DC's my initials, so I'm
That's
entitled
true.
to that.
They're my initials too.
He'll just say something, I'm like,
Oh, I know.
he
You just
doesn't
like
realize what.
Like there was a kid behind me in the movie that 2 nights ago, and I turned around and during the movie, talking at a normal level to his friend during the
Don't say
movie,
the whole thing, but God.
and I looked at him like 3 times, gave him, and just looked, and so he knew that I was annoyed. And about the 5th time he talked, I didn't just look. I was trying to look and I said, "Shut it," like that.
He had a hand motion. Shut it.
Did you do that?
Yes.
Yes.
And he looked at me.
His mother is sitting right next to me.
I know.
That's his mom. The same exact thing. I'm like, did I marry his mother?
I was
See,
so ticked by that point.
Before I met her, I would have done that. Now I would have gone like, hey, can you keep it down?
That's what I told him. I said, he said,
I'm
"What
trying to
else could I
soften
say?"
up,
I'm like,
I
"Oh,
am.
there's no other way to
I think the looking was the soft part, and I didn't want to talk more than I need to because everyone was already missing the movie because of them. So I was trying to like end it quickly. So looking 3 times to me was enough warning that I'm looking at you. That's already a warning.
So if they're directly behind you, what you do, you stand up, you let your seat go up, you sit on top of your seat while it's sitting
Oh,
there,
yeah,
so
yeah.
you block the whole
Thank
view.
you. I do that. I take my flashlight and go,
That's all I do.
All that does is bother me.
Literally, all I do is I let the seat go up and I sit on top of the seat, block their view until they shut up.
I should have done that.
Yeah, that's a good
I mean,
idea.
it's,
Oh, there was this whole row of kids behind us. They all, like
Oh,
9 of them sat behind us.
It was
And they
bad.
walked in and out constantly, hitting the back of my chair, like on the way out. Constantly.
First of all,
Wow.
you get a free ticket?
you went to the movies without us?
Ah, right. Aladdin.
What did y'all see?
Aladdin.
You went saw Aladdin without us?
That's a good.
Oh,
That's
okay.
her idea.
Okay, there goes the I.
John Wick.
Yeah. I've
We
seen
saw that too. So
Yeah.
we know the full range, Aladdin and John Wick. So we could do both.
Completely different.
Oh, and don't forget, Brightburn was phenomenal.
Was it?
That's the Superman Gone Evil movie.
I haven't watched it
Oh, that's creepy.
Okay, so what's the use of having the DISC? What good is it?
I don't try to do this at all, so I don't know if there's a use for it. I don't use it. I don't know that it would help. Does it? Because if you don't read it correctly, you're screwing yourself up. Like,
Guys like you and I are similar in a lot of ways in that we're very extroverted and we're not intimidated.
Yeah.
Right? We're not easily intimidated. You're right. It probably means less to us, but someone like, you know, Kathleen or Grace, if they get around a high D, and that could get intimidating, right? But they just need, if they realize that someone's being a high D, you know, maybe they would know how to adapt. Yes. Go ahead.
So I'm around that a lot. Not from doing, but from like in the other business I do is interior design, and I'm around that a lot. I deal with attorneys and surgeons and doctors and people who think they're smarter than me, because they are, but they
Only you're smarter than them about interior design.
right, but it's intimidating. And so what I end up doing is just like boosting their ego and then going negative. Is it negative? Going negative. and things like that. And then I end up building that rapport with them, and then I can joke with them and I'll say, oh, don't be so pompous, or you're always like that, or something, and that helps.
If you
because
get
then they
around,
laugh.
you get around someone like that who's definitely a D, and like a lot of successful people are Ds.
Yeah.
I don't know if the success breeds D or D breeds success. I don't know. But I notice a lot of highly successful people tend to be very direct and driven, get to the point. They're those kind of
people like that on purpose to get a laugh. So that's what
I'm saying. That's
I
what I'm
literally
saying.
find
So I
something they
get
like
to
and
know
bring them
them.
down.
Yep.
Well,
I get to know them, and then I just play, be kind of insulting.
Well, remember, the way to handle a high D, well, actually, the way to handle anybody is to go not okay,
Exactly.
right? I did that.
That works
Tuesday.
with all 4 of them?
That works for any of us. You don't think an S is going to reach down and try to help you up if you fall?
Not
Think
good
about it
enough.
this: if you
Not an S over there.
Not Steve.
if you're stuck in the door, you're carrying packages and you're trying to get through the door, and someone comes up to the door, what is the average person going to do?
I'll do it for you.
Open the door for you. They're going to try to help you. Anyone who doesn't is probably a sociopath,
I hope so.
right? They all
I
four,
also the door.
I even hold if your hands aren't open.
all 4 of
Yeah,
those
me too.
will hold the door for you. So going not okay works with just about all of them. The only thing to remember, though, is that if you are with somebody who's a D, would it be a good idea to tell a long, drawn-out story?
No.
No.
Right, and yet people always try to tell me long, drawn-out stories. How much do I want to hear a long, drawn-out story?
0.
As much
You
as
got
can
it.
have your foot.
Don't tell me long, drawn-out
My mom
stories.
does that. I said, just
Oh, yeah.
tell me what it is you want. What? Tell me the exact reason why we're on the phone. I don't have like the rest of my life.
Wow.
I said, I don't have the rest of the afternoon.
See, no, there's a DI.
It's a
Oh, I
one
must
sentence
be a new
statement,
guy
shouldn't
then,
take
'cause I
more than
don't
10
wanna-
words, and you should get your point across. You can do the 5 W's in 10 words or less in 1 sentence.
Yeah, I don't want to be on the phone for. I'll go over there and talk to her in person like that. I'm on the phone and you called me just to tell me a 45-minute story that you could have told me in 10 sentences.
No, you've heard Steve say a few things here that would kind of indicate where on this chart he is today. Where would you put him on the chart today?
I'm a CDI.
I would say you're right smack in the middle of D and C.
I think I'm
You're over there.
I'm a people person too.
You're by the oriented.
I'm people too. I hold doors.
We all do that. But
So you
you
acknowledge
are
humans.
you are task oriented.
Very much.
Get
Very
to-
heavy task.
Get to the details, and by the way, they better be right.
Yeah, it's your.
That's the
Why
C,
not?
right?
That makes
The
sense.
D wants the
You're
details. The
right.
C wants show me how'd you get those.
I
Give me your
shift
proof.
a lot in that square.
We all do.
How does a person that has a lot of I,
Where's the idea? Is the I more people oriented?
People and extroverted actors, SAC theater, they're all eyes. When you get into SAC theater, your eye goes through the roof.
What am I?
I put you over there by the
kind of question.
you're by the P in people.
People oriented.
So give me the people oriented. What that refers to people oriented there? What's that reference to?
Feeling,
As in between the I and the
caring
S.
about, you don't want to hurt anybody, being caring,
So it's not the same as being a
nurturing.
people person. That's people oriented. That's not being a people person.
It's similar. Yeah, I don't see a lot of difference.
See, no, I can see myself being over there too. So I do care about how people feel. But I don't let their feelings affect me.
There you go.
I mean, that's about how it is. So I care about how they feel.
I'm like Steve.
I know you're not.
My heart breaks.
You don't care about
when
how
somebody
people
tells
feel.
me that's that
Oh, it's-
story. I just mercy.
I'm not going to change my actions to
These
make
three
them feel good.
Are big people here. Kathleen, Denise, and Angie are people. No, she's a DC.
Oh.
She don't care. Is that my point of view?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
but
really,
how does somebody that is so detail oriented, like for example, telling a story, if you're the type of person that feel like you have to give all the details to the story, but I'm dealing with somebody like you you don't give a rat's behind about the details. You just want the freaking baby. You don't
Right.
care how it got there. You don't want to hear the birth story. Just show me the freaking baby.
Give me the numbers.
Yeah. How do our brains change to not offend you?
Well, and more to the point is, how do I tell you to stop telling the stupid story without offending you?
Oh, I have no problem with that. I just say shut up. I'm tired.
Yeah, but see,
Stop.
I just walk away.
But-
I gotta stop.
and what good is that for us?
If it pisses me off, I walk away.
No, Angie's got a
Oh,
valid
Johnny.
question. You get it now, Kathleen, Denise, you know, Angie, when you're in a situation with somebody and you want to tell a story because you know the story applies to the situation, there's two things you can do. One, you can decide not to tell the story or shorten it. Or you can ask permission.
That's
You
what I
say,
did.
I need to tell a story that's a little bit long, probably longer than you want to hear. But it's important. See, now once you make it important,
The information is important to the answer.
yes. So you want to say it is relevant. If you can prove that it's relevant to a D or a C, then they want to hear it because they want relevance. They don't want fluffy.
No fluff.
You know, they don't need to bond. They do, but they think they don't. You know?
Okay. So, asking permission. I have a story that I'd like to explain to you that's very relevant and very important. And it's the best way I know how to get my point across.
I think so. Is that okay?
I want to.
Oh,
I
and is
want.
that okay?
I want to ask you something.
I want to ask you
There's a
something.
story I have. It's a little longish, but it's very relevant to what we're talking about. Should I give you the full story, which would give you all the points, or should I give you the Reader's Digest version, which might miss some?
Yeah.
We talked about that last week, I think. It was the short version, or short version is give you a credit card number.
That was.
I remember that.
I've never
yeah.
been a
The short answer, a long.
Yeah. That was you. Somebody called you, right?
They called me and asked me that, yeah.
And that hopefully they were just trying to be funny.
They were.
Yeah.
They were. But they were hoping it worked.
Did it?
No.
Okay, so the whole point of
That was
this
funny.
is when you're analyzing the people around you, and I hate to say that word, when you're assessing the people you're with, it's going to change how you're going to act, because we are chameleons, aren't we? Salesmen are chameleons. We change color to match the background.
Read the room.
Yeah. I was
Read
gonna
the
say,
room.
right.
Very- Thank you, Hammer. There is
learn
the
to
best.
read the person in front of you. If they're tired or rolling their eyes or glazing over, your story is gone. It doesn't mean anything to them. And it doesn't matter how good it is.
I think I was at the-
Like that look right there.
No, I'm actually trying to think how to answer it.
I'm not asking this.
I'm not good at masking facial expressions at all. Go ahead.
I wasn't asking a question. I was just saying.
Oh.
If you learn to read people in the room, you know, oh my goodness, I'm boring them to tears. Let me get to the end. That kind of.
I have never been bored to tears by you.
Oh, good. Then I don't talk too long.
It's
If any of you bore me to tears, right, Andy? I'll tell you, you're boring me to tears. Stop.
Okay.
Because I'm a D. I'm going to tell you, this is boring.
I'll be like, get to the point.
You ever seen those guys? What movie was that? That guy would just say, I'm bored, and walk away. No, it was Mike Myers on Saturday Night Live on Sprockets. I'm bored. Let's dance, Anyway,
We call those people
I'm getting
ADD.
that's a rabble. Yeah, you want, if I'm going to tell you, like, okay, this is not, or now I try to soften it. Like, is this relevant?
Yeah, that's a good way to,
Yeah.
that's a good way for us to know if we're going on too long.
Well, okay, could we have a signal? Like, we give you the high sign. This means like, okay. And Dwayne, you should be not looking at your phone and looking at this signal.
What do you got for it?
That means you're going on too long. Stop.
Oh, is that what it is?
Because he is a people-oriented person, whether he said he is or not. But he definitely can tell a story. Right? We know that Dwayne's a storyteller.
Yes, he
I'll do
likes to
that.
go on,
Yeah.
and that's
I
where
can
I'm
tell-
like,
I can tell stories.
cut
That's
to
what
the
my wife
point,
tells me too.
cut to the point.
I said, if I'm going to, I'll do what I do. Just stand up and walk away. I'll stop talking.
I do. I walk out of the room and Dwayne's like, why'd you walk out of the room?
I'm like, I'm still listening, honey.
Yeah.
And around the house getting stuff done. I'm still listening. But you're not listening. What?
You're not looking at me, you're not listening.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
No, I'm listening, I'm just not paying attention. There's a difference.
So I'm not gonna retain it, basically.
You're hearing but not listening.
Yeah, and I'm responding from the other one. Really?
There was a meme out there that said, my wife said to me the other way, you never listen to a word I say. And I thought, that's a weird way to start a conversation.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw that.
Okay, so again, now this is not just in sales. Obviously, this can be used, can be employed, assessed, whatever, in anything. I mean, I have changed the way I act towards Kathleen now that I know a lot of the, her personality profile. And now, but again, it's a guideline only. You can't pigeonhole anybody. Right?
That's true.
So, but if you want to know the easy way to tell what someone is, just think, are they outgoing? Okay, well, they're probably up in the DI area. Are they concentrating on people, or are they concentrating on the task? Well, then they're to the left or the right. If they're very task oriented, they're going to be over to the DC side. If they're very people oriented, they're going to be over on the IS side. It's kind of easy to tell what someone is. What's hard to tell is how you should adapt to them. And that's very
That was
difficult.
my question.
Yeah, that's very difficult.
What do we do when we're dealing with somebody that only wants the facts? And it's hard to just give facts in my line of work.
But what in
Isn't
your line
that
of
what
work,
your
you
line of
should,
work is?
what you're going to do is ask questions that pertain to facts.
Once I have them and I'm getting all of their information, yes, everything is factual and the numbers are the numbers. But talking them into going with me,
Well, I hope you're not doing that.
talking them into going with me.
No, see, we got to get you
You
to lose that.
You need to get a snake charmer, okay? You need to do that. Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're saying?
It's not an eye at all. Remember, you're not talking them into going with you. You're finding out if they're a match. This scarcity mentality is hurting you. It hurts us all. But I can see it. Sometimes it's very glaring in you, Angie, that you think, oh my gosh, I've got to get some business, and you get that, that desperation, and you don't never appear desperate.
Never let them see you sweat.
Yeah, never. You're not hungry for the sale. You're eager to fix the problem. And if there's a problem you can fix, I want to fix it. But if it's one I can't fix, I'm not your answer.
I like to look at things that way. That's really important. Because then it shows your passion for what you do without showing your desperation for what you need.
You never want to show that.
Yeah.
I mean, if people think you're desperate, do you like doing business with someone who seems desperate?
No,
What are you thinking as soon as you get around a desperate salesman?
I'm going to buy because we're people pleasers.
Discount. Right? Thinking discount. I'm going to get this cheap. They're so desperate. I bet I can knock a
That's
hole.
true too.
And what good is that? Does that help anybody? We've determined that discounting usually doesn't help anybody. Right? So,
Like in my situation when they brought it out last yesterday, I knew everything they said was something that was easily fixable for me. It's more about the process than it is about the a true problem. The problem isn't that their IT is broken. The problem is the people that they've hired to help them manage their IT infrastructure and do the day-to-day help desk activities is not getting done in a timely fashion.
see,
That's an easy fix.
That's
Opposed to a problem that says,
Dwayne.
hey, I got a cabling closet that everything's a mess in. I got all broken hardware. That's a different problem.
Dwayne, that's the D in you. Now go over to the other side.
The dominant?
Yes, he says he's just looking at the facts. But remember, when do facts matter?
When you get a fax in the fax machine?
After it's facts are only used to justify the emotion.
Okay.
Right? The decision is made emotionally. Obviously, what's going on there, and I think you know this and you just haven't said it yet, is they weren't communicating. There was as Winston Churchill said, or whoever it was, what we have here is a failure to communicate. Right?
That was on Sacred Leaf Street, the Upon the Moon movie.
Whatever it was.
Cool Hand Luke.
Okay, that was what it was. But you know that RPM and this client were obviously not communicating. They weren't on the same page, right? Because you said problems are easy fix. So somebody wasn't telling them this is the problem, or they weren't understanding this is what needs to be fixed. So that would put a flag
Is that
on.
something that he would say though?
Do you have to say that?
Communicating.
I might ask it.
I didn't have, they came point blank and said, we believe this is the conflict of personalities as being the problem.
Tell me more about that.
I did.
Yeah.
And that's what I got into. And that's what they said. They gave me some key indicators. There was a conflict. You know, we would get upset about these things not getting done, and we would not, and then of course we would try to hold them accountable, and that's where it got escalated.
See, they weren't getting their needs met.
No.
It had nothing to do with it had something to do with fixing the IT, but it was probably the attitude in which they were being treated, or their perceived attitude.
That's the point.
Yes.
That's the point. Now I want to, what'd she say? Princess. I have a princess request. Tells me that she felt like she wasn't getting treated the way she should have been for what they're paying,
Yes.
which is exorbitant. And our clients don't pay us half that much. They get treated above other clients. We have that levels of service.
So RPM wasn't bowing and genuflecting enough, is what you're saying, right?
or they weren't doing anything at all. And they're like, what? We're paying you $6,000 for what? And I'm doing all the work, and you guys are responding in 30 days with tickets.
It sounds like a customer service issue more than the actual technical issue. It sounds like that they just didn't want to cater to her special
Or
needs.
couldn't, because they might not have an office in Delaney.
And it might be a personality conflict, like you said. They just said, we don't want to deal with this. And she said, I'm paying you $6,000 to deal with this, which you're right, that's a lot of money.
You kidding me?
Yeah. That's a lot of money.
I mean, for $72,000, you could hire somebody in house.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So, but what is the proper way to handle that? Does he say, this is an easy fix, it's a communication issue?
No.
Does he?
No.
So
No.
he doesn't do that?
No, hold on. What would you do
What I
if
just
you heard
said.
that?
So I'm wrong. So
You would
at
say
that point,
that-
I'm listening to his whole thing and I'm thinking, I would have just said, this is an easy fix. We've got a communication issue. Let's try to fix that.
Don't want to solve the problem.
She's
right?
closing.
Don't solve it.
So you're
Don't solve
closing.
it.
I don't want to do that.
You don't want to solve the problem.
It's premature. Premature presentation syndrome.
So-
You're doing.
Okay. So
Right,
when he's
so
getting
what-
all of,
I purposely put the meeting a week away so that I didn't appear desperate, first of all.
Yeah.
I had a whole week for the next meeting.
Now, in fairness, sir, she could say, no, this may be an easy fix,
There you go.
but it may not. I really want to find out more about it. Can you tell me more about, and then you want to go back to asking questions. The important thing is not to fix the problems.
could you say it may be a communication issue, it might not? I mean,
You could ask that.
Okay.
Is this a communication issue? And then let them go with that. And if they get upset, you went the wrong way.
So
then
I
you
made
fall
sure to
back.
ask. So you're saying it's personality conflict. Am I correct in thinking that this is maybe stem from lack of communication? Not being good between the two?
It was a
companies?
great question. And they probably appreciated that question too, didn't they? Yeah. They're thinking, oh, he gets it.
I gotta figure out how to word everything in a question.
Yes, you do.
It's so hard.
Mhm.
How do you do that?
Well,
I'm
that
just gonna carry a piece of wood around or a piece of sheet paper with a question mark on it, and I'm gonna say something and hold the question. Whatever I said, I want you to put it into a question and answer.
Like
I'm sorry.
Like Jeopardy.
you got this.
I was trying to think of an example of putting everything into a question.
It's
Like, if you
hard.
assume something, you ask it instead. Or like it could be the other way around.
So it took, how many years did it take you to be able to put everything in a
It's
question?
still taking me. I took my first class in 2008. So what does that tell you?
You just ask.
So what about if having a general question? You say whatever you're gonna say and say, how does that sound to you, or what are your questions about that?
Or what do you think?
The thing is, I've done that before, but like I don't remember exactly where. Like I do remember kind of where, but like it's just like a general thing. I actually have it on my phone like somewhere, so if I could like find
back to what, no, I'm going to say you got to do a little bit better than that, because now you're just saying like, here's my stuff. What do you think of it?
Yeah, what are your questions about that, or how does that sound? I mean, yes, you do ask specific questions throughout,
Okay, there is a
but
mindset.
that could be just a fallback.
This is the mindset I had to develop, and I think it's a challenge for you two, because
It's such
you're
a-
experts. You're both experts. And he's an expert too, but he's figuring it out. So watch it. 1 second, Grace. Hold on. You're both experts, and it's hard for you to fall back and say, "Oh, maybe I don't know it all."
Well, no, I don't know it all. I know more than the guy I'm talking to.
But you gotta pretend
See
like.
that can be good and bad. You should know more than the guy you're talking to, but you should always be open to like, wait, what if this guy knows more than me? I ran into that Tuesday. I'm sitting down there talking to somebody who knew way more than me, yet I closed the deal.
Right.
Well, I've told clients this. I just don't know the answer to that. Sorry, they like. I
But-
appreciate you telling me that.
Well, then say,
Yeah.
Makes me feel
well,
good.
you know, what if I told you I don't know the answer to that, but could I call someone? You know, do you want me?
Same thing.
Do you want me to go research that?
This is
How
this is
important?
the phone a friend moment. Do you know it?
How important is that? You can say, how important is that? That's one way to get around. Now, what did you have, Grace? What do you got on your phone?
I found it. It's more like a verification of progress. But like there was this person who was having a rough time and stuff, and like I needed to know. It's kind of the solution was she needed to know how he felt, and I just asked that as a question instead of saying that.
How do you feel?
Yeah, no, it's like she needs to know. You know.
Does she need to know how you feel?
No, not okay. If the guy I'm talking to was having trouble with a girl, and I told, yeah.
This is her sales.
Yeah.
That's-
I'm sorry. All right. I mean, like,
This is
I like how
Ask
people do
Grace
that.
relationship counseling.
It's not actual like, relationship. It's a friend who's like trying to.
What was the question
And
that you asked?
Yeah, what was the question you asked?
I just said, and she knows how you feel about all this. Okay.
That's
Oh,
that's
that's a
very
really
good.
way.
First of all, I like that she started with and.
Yeah.
If somebody gives you a statement that should have been a question, like they say, that's expensive.
And did you
And?
expect anything else?
Well, you can. Angie was good at that too. And
Another thing is, you kind of don't want to make assumptions because, like, I was thinking of scenarios in my head for what could be happening in that argument, like, and instead of just assuming something, I asked it as a question.
yeah, never assume we are not mind readers.
Yeah.
If they haven't told us to it, we don't know it.
That's really hard to do since I am a mind reader.
Well, see, that's because you don't want us. If we
You
find
gotta
that out,
pretend you aren't. You gotta pretend you
I gotta
aren't.
pretend I don't know a
if
thing.
they ever find that out, they're going to burn you.
I know, right?
Did you fly over here? What kind of broom?
Yeah, yeah.
No. So Andy, in that situation, when you want to just tell them something, you can, again, if you feel it, say it or ask it. You know, I want to tell you something. Is this a good time to tell you something? Would you be upset if I told you blah, 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 blah? Because if you just go, no, you need to do this, 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 and that. They're like,
Okay, mom.
okay, now they're out of it, right? Yeah,
Right? Yeah,
there goes critical parenting,
yeah.
right? That's the critical. I have that up there somewhere too. The parents, you know, that's another one we're going to get into, by the way. Other ways people, other personality indicators. What are you laughing at?
That firstborns are rigid and controlling.
They are.
Your sister.
I know personally.
I'm
I'm the
the
firstborn.
My sister is a
There's a firstborn. Who else is a firstborn here? Just
I'm the
us?
second born in my family, but my brother's nowhere near for
He's
the.
the rigid and controlling
He's
one.
not the median on.
I did say most.
I kind of let my sister kick me out of my own room because she wants to play with kitties once.
Okay.
That was just being sweet.
That Sandler goes on a lot about PSD, the visuals, auditories, and the kinesthetics. I don't know how legit this is, but I do hear people that fall into it a lot. They'll say, you know, I'm not hearing what I want to hear. You know, and auditory people tend to be rather slower and want to examine everything, whereas visual are very quick. Get me a decision right now. Like I don't see it. You know, see what I mean? That kind of thing. Like, I'm not seeing what I need to see here, Bob, or you know, and then the kinesthetics is like, I'm not getting warm fuzzies from this. You know, this gives me a bad feeling. So Han Solo was a kinesthetic. Right? I've got a bad feeling about this, right? Of course, look who his first mate was. A big fuzzy fuzzball was his first mate. So I don't know. I'm not a believer in PSD yet, so I'm going to probably stay away from that. Although I do believe birth order matters a lot. Now, definitely the TA, the parent, adult, child, which we did talk about. I've got that in here somewhere. That matters.
And that's very hard to get out of when you are a parent.
Yeah.
Especially when you're talking to somebody your kid's age.
We are asking people to change here.
I know. I'm trying.
This is
Well, at least I'm recognizing it. Before, I had no idea. Yeah. I'm recognizing that I do act like a mom, like, especially when I'm talking to like a 25-year-old, because I have a 25-year-old. So it's like, you know, I'm a mom. I'm not your mom, but I'm going to act like that.
this lawyer was asking someone on the witness stand, and he said something to the witness that was a little suggestive, you know, where me and Dwayne and maybe Steve would have said, that's what she said, you know, one of those kind of things.
Oh, okay.
It was something suggestive, and the guy kind of laughed a little bit, and then he answered the question, and the lawyer interrupted and says, excuse me, why did you laugh when I said that? He says, oh, that was the little boy in me that was laughing at that.
Yeah.
Okay, and the lawyer realized we do have a little boy in us. Sandler teaches that people have what he called tapes. I guess we'll call them MP3s now, inside their head. The first 4 to 5 years are your formative years. And those personality traits are formed in those first 4 to 5 years and stick with you throughout most of your life. It's very hard to rewrite those personality traits, okay? But you have those, and he says tapes, so I'll call them tapes in your head. You know, you're used to what your parents told you. You have 2 types of parents in your head. You have your critical parent and your nurturing parent. There's parents who can be critical, like you'll never amount to anything. Like, what are you doing that? That was stupid. You know, no. And then you've got the nurturing parent who says, you can do it, you're capable of anything, you can manage. So it must be getting near 11 if she's here.
That's your goal.
What time is it?
10:58.
Okay, so the critical parent, nurturing parent definitely affect. Now we want to be the nurturing parent and the adult talking to their child all the time. Nurturing parent, we leave critical parent at home, we leave the 6-year-old in the car. Okay, we don't bring our child in there. Our adult talks to the adult. The nurturing parent talks to their child, saying, like, "Oh yeah, come on, you can tell me, you can do this." Okay, so that's that transactional analysis is actually an entire class by itself that we'll probably get into at one point, and there's examples. But I'm waiting for some materials from Mike for that first. So those are other ways that we can use for personality indications and personality behavior. Do you think sales is about understanding people's personality?
For sure.
Absolutely.
Part of
Yeah. Huge part of it.
Is it more important to understand personality or to have product knowledge?
Personality.
Should you have product knowledge?
Yeah, of course.
Yes. But which one's more important?
I guess the personality.
Right, understanding people. Yes, you should have product knowledge, but I proved Tuesday that you can do a lot without product knowledge. I just went, not okay. I said, hey, you know what? You know more about this than me. I'm going to let you teach me. But when I started, I realized that she was used to getting her way.
Mm-hmm.
Juliana is used to getting her way, isn't she? When I started telling her she wasn't going to get her way, she leaned in. No, I can do that. I said, are you sure you're going to be able to have enough people handle this? She says, oh yeah, I'll hire people. I said, well, I don't know. She goes, sign me up.
Yes.
Were you there?
Yes, I was. Yeah. She
You
was
want-
aggressive.
Yeah, she's a
person-
very-
she's a very
yeah.
force.
New York. Yeah,
Yeah.
very.
And you can see that if I had gone full D on her, that would have turned into a, you know,
Oh, she's a total D. Yeah, she's a total D.
The bossing match.
yeah. So I just went, I'm going to let her handle it all. And I let her sell herself. I just told her, convince me.
Why you should be with.
Yeah, why should you be in the barter network? I didn't say that, but that was my attitude was, tell me more about it. Why is this the right one for you? Is this a good match? Well, I don't know. I mean, are you going to be able to handle all the business? I challenged her. Are you going to be able to handle all the business we bring in? Oh, yeah, I'll handle it.
Yeah, she's very competitive.
Yeah, and that was, she told me later, she said, I didn't realize what you were doing. She says, I don't even know why I told you to tell me, sign me up. I don't know why I did that, but you're right. Now I realize that you made me think you weren't going to have me.
Yeah.
And I said, but it's open to everybody. I go, well, no, not necessarily. There's some people I don't want. She goes, who don't you want? I go, I'm not sure I want you. She goes, oh, cut it out.
She said she was very frustrated with him. She was frustrated with the situation
Because of what he said?
because the way he was
Back off.
Yeah.
Well, and also because I didn't know. She said I didn't have the knowledge.
Yeah.
And she thought that was like very unprofessional.
Was it in a role play?
It was
Yeah.
so unprofessional that
Role
she
play.
said, sign me up.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So that she proves that
She
you don't
went
have.
against her own thought.
She sold.
She said that she was frustrated
She
with you?
sold herself.
Yeah.
I just
To you.
got out of her way.
But what was so frustrating about you to her?
Because I wouldn't tell her anything about the product. And so she ended up telling me all these features and benefits of being insured. She said, well, don't you tell them that they could get this and this and this, and don't you tell them this and that? And then I go, yeah, I could do that. She says, I'm learning, keep going. And she's like, it's on a website somewhere. Someone told me it's already published. I looked on their Facebook page, it's not there, but someone told me it is published somewhere.
That'd be fun to watch.
She's my
That
friend,
video.
so I can call her and ask her about it. That's funny.
I'd love to know what she thinks about me now that I'm not there.
You really want to know?
She'll tell me if you really
See,
want
See,
to
that's
know.
the
I'll
I
tell
in me.
you.
The I in me wants to know if she liked me,
I never worry about that because everybody always likes me.
So here's a few more interaction
I
things.
don't care if they like me or not, I assume they do.
Yeah, that's what he.
I always end up getting people that like me. I'm not worried about that.
Anything in there that we're not up on? By the way, no one
I don't want to
knows
do anything with this. I don't want to have a stroke though. Do we have to have strokes to do this in sales?
when you stroke someone, you say something nice about them. Like, oh, good question.
Yeah.
That's a stroke. Like, wow, that was perceptive. I'll do that.
I did that
sometimes.
with Megan.
Good. Like, ooh, when you just go,
I said, I
Wow,
told her,
that's
I said, if you're doing all this, I said, can I ask you a question? She goes, yeah. I
What do you
said,
need me for?
I said, you need to cover your ears, Richard. He goes, I said, you want to work for me? I said, you're so good at IT. You wanted to become an IT person?
oh, so you already know about strokes.
Yeah, there you go.
I've never had a problem with that.
Mirroring and matching. I mean, every time Juliana did something to this, I would go. But she leaned over and she did a Denise, I did Denise right there. I mean, I did it like 5 seconds after she did.
But you do it in more of a feminine way than she did, right?
Yes, I did. Because I'm,
Did you really?
I'm in
No.
touch with my feminine. She's,
Miss.
no, but I did mirror and match her. And I'm
Well,
sure
the
she,
only thing you wouldn't do is if she's leaning forward, you would lean forward. That would
You would
not
lean
be,
back.
you'd lean back.
I didn't do that because when she leaned
That's
forward, that was the
you
D
lean
coming
back.
at me.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
what do I do?
And if
When
you
under
had
attack,
leaned
fall
towards
back.
her,
When she started leaning forward, I'm like, okay, you take it.
yeah.
But-
yeah.
But really-
I wish I would have had that.
Huh?
The knowledge
Normally
to
you
that.
wouldn't do that.
Like,
Normally I would
I
do
would
it.
just slow it down.
I return with overwhelming fire.
In a sales situation, yes, I would do that. If somebody leaned forward to me, I go, oh, okay.
Them.
Increase the fire.
I don't lean in
It's
when
like,
somebody
yeah.
leans
Like, it was
forward.
like,
I would be like,
All right, we're okay. Angie asked a question. She said normally I wouldn't do that. That was normal. I was just being me. She leaned in, and I realized
I thought the last class, I asked about that, and you told me to do what they do, not the opposite of what they
If they
do.
lean in, you lean in.
If they lean
Okay.
back, you don't lean back. If they lean back, you lean
Do
forward.
you have to
okay,
read
this is part of
room?
the 10 years experience. I'm going to say that you generally do what they do, unless there's a specific reason you don't do what they do. And in that case, I was under attack. Okay,
Okay,
she was
but-
mad.
So if she wasn't,
She was frustrated with
so
me.
if she wasn't being aggressive and leaned in, if she just leaned in, but
If
wasn't
she was
being aggressive,
excited and leaned in,
then
I would get excited with her. Like, oh
Right.
yeah. But she wasn't. She was like, "Are you really?"
She was like,
Yeah, she was like.
she was frustrated. Like, are you seriously? Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And he had to go out of
Yes, I went out okay with like I'm
because
gonna
it
go ahead take it.
softens her.
But all I did was get out of her way. See, that's
Exactly.
that's what
I
Trying
think
to get
that's
that
like a
across.
natural reaction when somebody's like, oh, and upset. You just want to
Well, last class I talked about that I was talking to somebody and he leaned back. So I wasn't sure if I was also supposed to lean back or if I was supposed to lean in. But you
well.
told me to address it.
I would have said
and
lean back and say, "You just lean back right there."
That's what you told me last time.
Yeah.
Is there something I should know? Did I miss something? Did I make a mistake?
That's what you told me last time,
Now-
is to address it.
And I don't think I was.
Lean back out of nervous.
I think I was watching the body cues as much as I probably should have with these two, because I was trying to watch two people. It's kind of harder to do, and she was talking,
He's
and
gonna have a
he was not
problem
talking as
doing
much.
that. Yeah.
No, and with practice, you'll be able to watch 18 people.
What you need to start doing is put your phone in your pocket, illegally, and hit record.
I don't wear pockets, short pockets. I don't wear that. I don't wear that.
I
No.
know, right? It's literal.
Okay, well there we are at one of the tools right there, number 3, observing. Right. You're going to be observant, but also you don't. And Grace said it. You don't assume. You have to get it in their words. They have to tell you. Like if she leans back, you say, "Okay, did I miss something?" You just lean back. Oh, my back hurts. Okay, so you're not leaning back because you're saying I don't want anything to do with this.
I feel like that's over-interpreting in their face.
But see, overinterpreting can be a powerful tool because it'll get them to come back and say, no, you're overinterpreting. No, I'm still interested. Okay, because I'm not getting that.
Oh, yeah,
Or
no, I'm
like-
sorry, I didn't mean to give you that impression. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Keep going. Yeah.
Okay, well, we're okay, and then I would be like,
Because I got that lean back thing when I met with a realtor that had a lender, and kind of throughout like towards the end of our conversation, he was totally leaned back and disengaged. And I wish that I had known to have brought that to your attention. I mean, I know he was going to do that, and I only noticed that he leaned back because you had addressed the leaning back, leaning forward, but I didn't remember what you said about it. But when
Right.
you lean back, I'm like, I know that's not good.
well,
I don't remember what's going on.
well, it's an interrupt. It's an interrupt. Something just happened because he consciously decided to lean back. Okay,
Yeah.
so something either something his mind went somewhere else, which is bad. He's not listening to you,
Okay.
or you just said something he didn't like. You have to address that. That's
Could it have been he's finally getting comfortable with the conversation?
well, I want to hear that from him.
No,
Or
it wasn't.
Could it have been his back?
Yeah.
or-
I felt it when he leaned back, and I would have never recognized it before. And I only recognized it because he had touched on it, but I didn't remember what he said
Yeah,
about it. So when the guy leaned back, I'm like, oh, that's something. I
You
don't
know,
remember what that is, but I know that's something.
Is that- yeah.
You know
And I
what?
didn't know what to say or do
you know, it
about
could
it.
be effective for you.
That's when you're on.
Is as soon as he leans back, you just stop and look at him,
Okay.
and he'll say, "What?" He goes, and you just say, "Well, you just leaned back, and I wasn't expecting that."
Mm.
Am I boring you?
That's a
Okay.
good question. Am I boring? Yeah.
And well, no, you're not boring me, which means yes, okay. But he'll say, like, I'd rather you get to this and this and that. You go, okay, well, what are those important? And then you can get back into a questioning stream, and then you start taking your notes.
I was trying to find a way to get back to the
What else do you
question.
wanna know?
I kept on going back to it, but
That's
I
what you
probably wasn't as effective at it as I could have been. 'Cause I've done it enough times yet.
no. And remember, Angie said she was talking, and he leaned back.
Yeah.
Okay, what's wrong? There's two things wrong there. What?
30% talking.
She's talking.
37, yeah.
A buyer is not buying unless they're talking.
You know what? He did talk the whole time. That is what happened. He leaned back right when I started talking.
Oh,
Mhm.
maybe it wasn't time for you to start talking then. I mean, that's what I want. I
I'm
wish
so
I
glad
was
you said
there.
that, because that's what happened.
I would have asked him, should I talk now? I've done that before. I've actually said, like, is it time for me? Is it time for me to ask some questions? And if
Pretty much
it's-
ask what you're thinking, feeling. So
If you feel it's there.
decide. Yeah.
But you got to ask it in a question.
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
well, what
Not a
happens if you
statement.
just make it as a statement?
It's like, am I boring you?
That's a question.
Or
Yeah.
Do you like that?
I'm boring you.
If you just say, "Oh, I'm boring you," now that's an implied question.
Yeah,
But I don't. You're taking a chance when you do implied questions.
right. It's not
I would say,
boring now.
"Am I boring you?" But that was Claudio just disconnecting one. He didn't say a
I
single
think we
word.
bored him. I know.
Okay,
He was leaning back the whole
where's my lesson? Okay, this week I want to see if you can match your personality to someone and see if they notice.
Match
A
our
little-
personality to.
Yeah, in
Oh,
other
you
words,
wanna
adjust.
to match them.
adjust
I don't mean to
someone.
keep doing that, but did Juliana notice that you mirrored her?
She didn't say a word.
Wow.
Was it pointed out to her?
No. I would love. I bet she has no idea. I
Oh, I'm
did
sure
that.
she doesn't. No.
And yet she studies facial.
She's a very forward
Yeah.
person, so if she
Yeah.
did notice something that you did, she would address it.
Yeah.
So she's very.
Nobody noticed it. I brought it up in the meeting with Mike and Eric, and Eric goes, "Oh, look, there's his eye. He wants to be noticed." He's defeated. Eric can be a dick. He's a DIC. Anyway, so try that if you're sitting with somebody this week and you're talking with them, rather than don't stop talking and interacting. But if they change their position, wait a couple seconds and then you change your position to the same.
Unless it's an interrupt, then address it and just say, "Am I boring you?" Or.
Well, no, if
I
that guy leaned back, then you should lean back. Though.
It's
But you
not-
want to say, "Why are we leaning back?"
I don't know.
I've done that before. I didn't get the memo. Is this the time we lean back? Because I love to do funny stuff like that too. Catch them off guard.
Yeah.
Any lessons?
I
Oh,
took,
today?
I
Yeah.
took hardly.
Oh my
any
gosh,
notes.
the whole day.
That's
I
good.
need to see what.
I realized that men like to say how tall they are and how much they weigh. You would never hear a woman stand and say, me, my 5'5" height and my 150 pounds of me was intimidating that little girl. That's what men do. I'm 6'2" and I'm 250 pounds. He's like
I don't
5'4".
say that.
There's only one person in here who said that.
I know, but I've heard that a
Okay,
lot of
other
times.
than lessons that pick on the
Okay, sorry.
instructor, did you have any lessons learned today?
I've learned two things, and I got to do one or the other, depending where I'm at. In my office, I'll have it behind the client's chairs on the wall, or I'll have it in my notes on my cover of my notebook. I'll have a big question mark, just so I can always have something to remind me to ask a big question.
Why? Why do we ask questions?
To get them to talk about them,
Even bigger than that.
find the pain,
Bigger than that.
close the sale.
Go big. Go big. You want to be the director.
Oh, yes. That's right. You want to direct the
You
room.
want to guide the conversation. Because if you're not guiding the conversation, who wins? Are you?
Other than me, yeah.
If you're not in control of the sale, then somebody else is. And if somebody else is in control of the sale, then whatever happens to you is your fault.
And if you're talking, if they're talking, they're more likely to buy.
If they're not talking, they're not buying.
Okay, if they're not talking, they're not.
That's the
buying.
sale rule.
I
Anybody else?
really would do. I'm gonna go give me a question mark. I'm gonna go pound.
That's,
Pretty cool. I think I'm joking. I'm gonna
I
take a
think you
picture.
should put a
that's not a
picture,
bad
yeah.
idea.
Bring a picture in.
And you know what also
I'm
put
a
underneath?
art-
Put underneath what's next.
Ooh, I like that.
That's up on the wall above my desk. What's next? Because I
Well-
don't get off the phone without knowing what's next.
Well, I don't do what's next. I do a path forward. At the end of every one of my conversations, everybody always says, "Oh, so what's our path forward? What's next?" Basically.
Okay.
Path
Anybody
forward,
else?
bottom line.
That's what I did.
Yeah.
I asked, I said, hey, when you guys have done this in the past, how's the decision made? What's next? Where, and that's why I kind of went that direction with it. Well, I want to talk to you a little bit more sometime about my next meeting with them and how it's going to go.
Yeah, I need to talk to you too.
So I think that not qualifying, but that 1 to 10, asking them how important it is and then write that down, because then you can later address the most important.
Now, see why lessons learned are important? Because some of you had forgotten that already, right? So we just brought it up again. I remember, oh yeah, that 1 to 10 thing.
Yeah.
Now that'll be in your mind
and
a
then-
little longer.
Yeah. And
I
then
like that.
qualifying them from the moment you sit down.
I'm always qualifying. Because you know what, if I get a new prospect, if I get a new client, you know what that means? It means I gotta do work.
Yeah,
I don't like doing work. I'm creatively lazy.
When I qualify, we go through form.
That's how brokers are.
Go through form, then we get to the money portion, and I'm like, everybody that's doing it has to get paid. Just want to make sure you're on.
I didn't even have to get to the budget for it, because they gave me the budget, they gave me exactly the paying.
Yeah, that
Well,
blew my mind, that one.
You could find out if that's what you say. So do you want to spend this or less than this? Or are you willing to spend a little more? You never know. You might be able to get it for 9,000.
Well, I was amazed that they gave me that.
If they're going to spend 6 and get treated bad, maybe they'll spend 9 to get treated well.
Wow.
You know, if your conscience can live with that. I mean, if you can give them $9,000 worth
Paying
of value.
$72,000 a year to be treated that.
Yeah. that-
For only 4 appointments.
And I would have said that. Does the fact that you paid $72,000 a year to be treated badly, is that a factor? I'd love to hear the answer to that one, wouldn't you?
I didn't
That's a
ask that,
chunk of
I just kind of
change.
got that in my mind after talking to them, that they know it was bad, they know they're being trained badly, they know it was a
You know,
factor.
rub it in.
That was the biggest thing, because every single thing they said that I wrote down was not getting treated right, not getting treated right.
So
not
what,
getting
what
treated
I'm
right.
thinking about that ties what we've been talking about over the last month or so. Is every decision is tied on emotion. They're emotionally not being treated well. They're being run through the ringer. So now they're like, yeah, I'm obviously got fired. I'll move somewhere else. Tied to emotions.
How far after 11 is it?
Wait,
Okay, I'm going to stop recording. This is the end of the class. If you want to stay on and talk, you can.